Story 1. About a year after we broke up, I came across an article she wrote that had some thoughts about me. The article was pretty negative overall, but one thing she said that stuck with me is that I based my self-worth on whether or not I was in a relationship. She was definitely right. Since then, I have worked hard to try to change that. I am not done yet, but my life is already so much better. Story 2. The most interesting man I ever dated and one of the most interesting people I have ever met was a reporter who covered local corruption. One day, we were sitting at the bar at the Coq d'Or at the Drake Hotel in Chicago. I made a comment about how a corrupt city always had a certain charm. He replied, "I have never met anybody corrupt who was not charming." Story 3. You need to realize that you are beautiful, and you deserve the best in the world. Never settle for less. He always treated me like I was his most precious treasure. We grew apart and took separate ways. However, he gave me the best gift ever. I learned to love myself. Story 4. Even the strongest independent person can fall victim to gaslighting and manipulation. It makes me appreciate my husband now, who is the opposite of my ex. Story 5. After having sex for the first time and trying to make every time after that as romantic as possible, the person I was in a relationship with said to me, sometimes you want to make love, sometimes you just want to have sex. I started enjoying sex so much more after that. Story 6. Trying to appear wealthy without being able to afford it is foolish. No one cares, and those who do are the people to avoid. My ex always wanted to look rich. He was a joke. Story 7. Men often apply to jobs they want, even if they do not meet all of the requirements and still get the positions. Women should do the same. Carry yourself with the confidence of an average man. Story 8. A back rub is not complete without a full massage of the buttocks. Start where the back meets the buttocks, along the hips as they wrap around toward the tailbone, and continue up the fleshy part of your cheeks. This life-changing technique has stayed with me as both a giver and receiver ever since. Story 9. Never marry a girl who grew up in a very strict household and you are her first real boyfriend. Never give up your dream for someone to make them happy. If they truly love you, they will support you. Story 10. I can shift from gear 5 to gear 3 in a car if I have slowed down, and it is fine. I will not break my gears. Story 11. I have a lot of emotional baggage that I need to work through, and until I do, I will undermine every relationship until I believe that I am worthy of being loved. Story 12. I try to learn at least one thing from each of my relationships. Sometimes it is deep and full of personal growth. Sometimes it is you do not need to spend $45 on a 3-pack of Calvin Klein undershirts when Marshalls has them for $20. Oh, Linda, you beautiful shallow psychopath. Story 13. If they leave you for someone else, they do not care about you at all. Never go back. Those unpleasant individuals can have each other. Story 14. No matter how hard you try, you cannot rebuild a one-sided relationship without trust. Story 15. She taught me that I deserve love and that I should not be afraid of wanting the love I want, even by breaking up with me harshly. I am glad it happened. Now I put myself first in relationships. Story 16. Always be willing to examine your beliefs, especially the deeply held ones. You may be cheating yourself out of a chance to grow. Story 17. Men raised with excellent manners and integrity walk on the side closest to the street or traffic when with a partner. They stand up when a woman enters the room to show respect. I should have married that man. I was too young and inexperienced. Story 18. Don't ignore red flags. Cheaters cheat again, and the same applies to abusers. If they hit their ex, they will hit you too. If they are still blaming the victim, they have not learned anything. Also, polyamory is not for me. In hindsight, what they were trying to force me into was polygamy, not actual polyamory. Story 19. Open, honest communication is better than trying to communicate with passive-aggressive behavior. When I ask you if something I did made you mad, do not lie and say no, then get mad the next time I do that thing I asked you about. Story 20. If you notice a concerning pattern you identified from a previous relationship that ended badly, and you point it out but it does not change, leave. It is more than likely to end badly and is not worth the hurt of trying to stick around. Story 21. If they tell you all the personal secrets of their exes, they will tell all your personal secrets to their new partners. Story 22. How obvious it is when I hold my true self back. With online dating, I always felt pressured to be an idealized version of myself to keep women interested. After this ex, I learned to relax and be more at ease with myself, which has made dating much more enjoyable. Even though we did not work out, I hope she is doing well. Story 23, more than one, but how to plunge a toilet, how to use a gas stove, how to cook on a gas grill, gun safety, and other random house-related topics. He was a carpenter. Story 24. I thought she moved on very fast from her former boyfriend when she met me. She cut him off entirely and never acknowledged his existence. I remember thinking that was suspicious but overlooked it, until I became the former boyfriend. Story 25. She did not directly teach me, but I learned that no matter how far the distance you go, never expect the other person to do the same regardless of what you have done. Story 26. You can never fully trust anyone, no matter who they are or how long you have known them. Most people are untrustworthy. Story 27. A lot of these are kind of sad and depressing. I had an ex who taught me that snails are delicious. I couldn't bring myself to try escargot until he ordered them and said I was free to try one if I wanted. Story 28. Jealousy can be taught or contagious. If you are with a jealous person and the relationship becomes transactional, you may end up keeping score of when you should be jealous to counter their attacks. It is hard to change after that, but it can be lessened over time. Story 29. The joy of handcuffs in the bedroom. I was fairly conventional before we got together. We ended on friendly terms as she moved for her work, and I would do it all over again. Story 30. I haven't had the healthiest relationships, but some positive takeaways were one man who helped me be less rigid and go with the flow more, and another who taught me how to care about what I put in my body and how to treat it better. Story 31. Whatever the problem is, express it to me. Do not involve a third person. I am very hesitant to create conflict, but the way she always tried to make me express myself is something no one else in my life has ever done. Story 32. Case study in personality disorders shared by serial killers. Watching the Bundy tapes on Netflix was intense for me, not just because of my own experience, but because the person I watched the series with paused it multiple times, horrified, to ask if I was okay, saying, "Oh my God, I have literally heard him say that to you." Story 33. My only ex was my 17-year-old boyfriend because I started dating my husband right after we broke up when I was 19. He was bad in every other way, but the one thing he said that really stuck with me and put me in my place was, "You are the most important thing in my life, but you are not the only thing in my life." He normally did not make much sense, but that did, and I needed that. Story 34. Warm up the body soap in your hands before putting it on yourself when taking a shower. Also, put the ham in the pan and crisp it up before adding the scrambled eggs. Otherwise, you just get eggs and hot ham. Story 35. Bring up that issue that is bothering you as soon as possible. No, you will not get over it. It will grow and bother you more and more over time. Story 36. There are no soulmates. I justified much of her negative behavior on that premise. It was destructive to my self-worth, and I was completely wrong. Story 37. Street smarts. I did not learn much of it through my upbringing, and I typically assume the best of people. He taught me how to look out for myself and carry myself so I do not get approached by strange people as much. He was a jerk overall, but I am grateful for the life lesson. Story 38. A. As soon as someone becomes violent, document everything and cut contact completely. B. The first time you feel like leaving, leave. C. Do not trust the court system to hear you out or even care about your life. D. Never settle. Do not try to fix someone. If you cannot tell by now, I am a man living in America. I know it said one. Sorry. This is very recent and I am still healing. Story 39. It is okay to be open on an emotional level during those deep, intimate moments of vulnerability together. I wish I had realized it then. Story 40. What people want is not often surprising, but the means by which they are willing to get there usually tell you what you need to know about them. Story 41. What women are really okay with, not in a good or bad way, just a learning experience that I am glad I learned as a younger man. Story 42. Most people do not understand or mean what they say for a multitude of reasons. People are where they are. The responsibility is on you to be aware of this without becoming jaded. Story 43. That I am worthy of love, admiration, and intimacy. Maybe I will never find it again, but it was worth the end. Story 44. It is better to be alone than with the wrong person, even if that wrong person was the closest I had ever felt to being loved at the time. Also, avocado and cheese sandwiches are quite good. Story 45. Cleaning the kitchen and doing some dishes while you cook saves you from a large mess at the end. She was quite smart. Story 46. I once dated a chef for a month. He taught me how to make the perfect risotto. This was about 17 years ago, and I still make a very good risotto. Story 47. Some little things. Tomato on toast with mayonnaise and pepper is delicious. Grapes in cottage cheese are delicious. An inexpensive, small car still gets you to all the same places. But also two huge ones. Some people will say anything to ruin your reputation behind your back rather than admit that they drove you away with their behavior. Defamation lawsuits work. Story 48. How to kiss. Seriously. He let me know the secret of kissing that will turn knees to jelly. I've used it to devastating effect frequently. I once had a lover who kissed for 6 hours straight. I don't kiss anybody now. All kissed out. Story 49. Do not change your major life plans because of a girlfriend or boyfriend. A wife with whom you have children is a different situation, but I would never let a girlfriend or boyfriend dictate your important life decisions. Story 50. Do not get caught up wasting money on designer products and status items that you cannot afford. We broke up over 30 years ago. She is still into all that stuff and has nothing. I worked hard, saved, invested, and was able to retire early without worrying about money. Story 51. White male Republican husbands lie well. Also, stay vigilant, women. Many Republican men are unfaithful. Story 52. A woman is a reflection of her man. If you do not like the way she is acting, look at the way you treat her. Story 53. People can easily forget how bad the end of a relationship was, especially if it was their fault. My ex told me to accept them becoming less affectionate for 6 months during a long-distance relationship and then didn't support me after my roommate betrayed me and tried to hold me at gunpoint. Story 54. You cannot be the nice person by letting them cling on. You have to walk away when you feel that need and not delay it. Story 55. Do not let any partner know your email address. I blocked her on all platforms, but she harassed me with emails. I had to delete the email account that was linked to all of my accounts, including government accounts, and create a new one. I still cannot access a few accounts because I need my old phone number, which I also had to change because of her, and my old email for verification. Story 56. I received the final transmissions from an enlightened young woman in a psychiatric ward in Seattle once. It is impossible to put into words, but had something to do with silence, compassion, mystery, ritual, presence, and a miraculous superhuman quirk of neurology. That was 6 years ago. I will always consider her my Zen master. I cannot forget and will never doubt again. Story 57. Do not overlook red flags at the beginning. When I was younger, I would be happy to be with someone even though there were massive red flags that I willingly ignored and definitely paid for later. I became more selective after my COVID-19 relationship. I was told I love you within 3 days and did not have the sense to walk away. Story 58. You can be smart with a Doctor of Philosophy degree and stupid at the same time. She broke up with me because a medium told her I cheated, but I did not. This story is shared on Reddit. Story 59. How various things that are goofy but feel like lovely quirks will turn into annoyances in the long run, especially when two people start falling out of love and suddenly they do nothing but annoying things. I understand there will always be things that partners disagree on, but if those things are all there is, it is just horrible. Slightly related, if the other person cannot seem to take care of themselves, It will be even worse when you have to take over those responsibilities in their life. Story 60. I was not actually into bondage, discipline, dominance, submission, sadism, and masochism. I was using his abuse to hurt myself and often let him sexually assault me because I believed that saying no meant I was not punishing myself. Thankfully, I am very far away from him, and my husband is one of the most incredible and supportive men I will ever know. Story 61. My parents forcing me into social activities caused me to despise them, leading to me barely participating and feeling terrible. Story 62. He taught me never to be with someone who is controlling, cannot keep a job, and blames everyone else for getting fired. My moment to leave was when he said, "Forget you," to my dad. Goodbye. You know he was bad when his own father said to me, "I don't know why he is like this." Story 63. Mom's ex. Absolutely stay away from people who are mentally ill and refuse to get help, subjecting everyone to their harmful behavior. These people cannot care about you right now. My exes, trust your instincts. When someone shows their true character, believe it the first time. Any man who is comfortable saying things to destroy you, make you insecure, or be violent against you is someone to keep out of your life. Do not enter a relationship if you are not ready or do not have genuine feelings for them. Story 64. If you are wearing a baseball cap and kissing someone, turn it around. It is oddly chivalrous in a charming way, and it works. Story 65. Both an ex and Into the Woods. You may know what you need, but to get what you want, make sure you keep what you have. Even though I was open to polyamory, she left me to go monogamous with the person she was sleeping with. I am asexual and she was not. This was fully discussed and okay with me. She ended the relationship, married him, he died, and she ended up alone. She tried to be friendly again with me, but I fully blocked her out because I knew I was just a comfortable rebound. Story 66. She showed me what it looks like to lose love on one side. Both sides were almost the same, but I still loved her and she just fully stopped. It got to the point where I basically begged her for some time together, only for her to break up with me over the phone. We were together for 4 years, and she was cheating on me during the 3 months she had moved away for a new job. The silence, the late-night responses, the "no, I can't," and "oh, I did this with someone else." She said the sweetest things after breaking up, then immediately flipped sides. Story 67. When you are in an argument, do not attack each other. Do not be mean and hateful because you are mad. The only thing you will take away from the argument is the bad things that were said, not understanding the issue and trying to fix it. Story 68. The most evil people in the world will say anything to be perceived as the most loved and trusted, and they have no problem violating any boundary to gain what they crave. You have to judge people by their actions. Words are not worth much unless the person has consistently proven the power of their word. Story 69. Make sure he is actually single. Do not just take his word for it. It turned out he had a girlfriend on the side, and he also went and slept with my friend who subtly came on to him after I told her about it. It affected me for a few years. Story 70. The debts she has are not the reason she is violent towards you. Even if she says they are, paying them will not stop her aggressive behavior. Story 71. She taught me social skills. Before her, I had only hung around the same friend group of, oh my God, so random folks from high school through college. Then I moved away and got into a summer fling, but I did that attention deficit hyperactivity disorder thing where I would say random crazy things or try to hijack a conversation to something niche I wanted to talk about. My foot was constantly in my mouth because the more I spoke, the more people looked uncomfortable talking with me. We were out at the bar and she told me to sit down, not talk, and just listen to the people we were hanging out with. I was not allowed to interrupt or change the subject. I could only speak if someone asked me a question, and my response had to relate to the subject. It was weird and uncomfortable. It really helped me stop being so awkward all the time, and I am glad I went through that lesson. It even helped my professionalism at work. Story 72. Their social security number, so if they ever try to act out at some point, I am going to sell it on the black market. For legal reasons, this is a joke, but they really did make me do their taxes a few times, so I have it memorized no matter how much I would like to forget. It is an easy sing-songy one. Story 73. That just because someone says family and best friend and forever does not mean anything once excitement leaves and effort becomes necessary. Story 74. People are not investments. Choose someone for who they are now, not just for who you hope they will become. Story 75. A good one among the hurt ones. My former partner taught me that I was worthy of love and happiness, and they helped me improve my confidence. I have fortunately had wonderful former partners overall, and they all contributed amazing little parts to my life. Story 76. That women are not capable of loving their male partners. They only see men for how they improve their lives. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.